From the banks of the Allegheny, welcome to Film Bits. And if you can hear the sound of my voice, I want to thank you very much for tuning in to No Country for Old Men, Part 3. This is going to be one of my favorite parts as we get to analyze the coin flip scene. But we left off with Llewellyn in some dire straits last time. So before we do anything else, let's make sure that we address that. So Llewellyn sees that Mexicans have appeared. They pop the tires in his truck, and they then give chase to get him, assuming that he's out here for some reason. So what the heck is going on with this gringo? Great bit of photography here, catching that lightning shot there. That's a lucky coincidence. We're getting sunrise photography as Llewellyn is making his way through the Texas, I don't know, what do we call that? Let's just call it brush. Now Llewellyn's going to take a shotgun to the back. That sends him over. Wounded, but not critically. Gets rid of those boots so they don't weigh him down in the water. And here comes the pit bull. Watch this pit bull when he gets into the bank, spring off the bank. Here it comes. Pew! And there he goes. And this pit bull will chase Moss all the way down until poor pit bull gets ready to tear out Moss's throat. And Moss deals with him. And then we get the shot here as Moss is picking the shot out of his shoulder. We get this long, wide shot that shows us way off in the distance, about center screen there, the truck. Beautiful shot. And here we are, the establishing shot for the coin flip scene. Now, this movie has not had a lot of color, lots of neutral and earth tones, browns and beiges and yellows. Little bit of greens as we see here, not the green, the vibrant green of spring summer, but as we can see the leaves not being on the trees, it's that kind of yellowy green, that faded, dying kind of green, if you will, of winter. But here in this shot, we get a lot of red. We get the red of the Texaco sign, obviously. Then when we look over to the building to our right, there's the red of the word ice down the ice maker. There's red stripes, there's red text, there's a red Coke dispenser, and the gas pump even has red on it. So a lot of red really grabs the eye because there's been so little of it so far in the film. Then we cut inside and we get this shot, which I would like to stop and analyze for the color here as well. So let's look at all the yellow in this scene, and let's start on the left side of the screen and move over. So on the left side, we see a bunch of peanut wrappers in yellow. Then behind the proprietor, we see a big yellow piece of like farm equipment or heavy machinery. We will always see this piece of equipment. The Coen brothers left the gap open so that we could see it. So there has to be some significance. Even the scenery behind the man is a little bit yellow. His shirt is very yellow and brown, and his suspenders are a little off yellow. Just in front of him on the counter is a yellow cup. Behind him, there is some yellow, I believe, in an envelope or some kind of folder and some boxes. Then to his right, we see some yellow happy faces in the background, another piece of yellow, something hanging on the wall, and then all the way over to the window to his right, we see some light bulbs, perhaps, with yellow. In addition, all of those fan belts behind him look like nooses. So we get this shot for a couple seconds before Chigurh walks in. The nooses could tell us that they're foreshadowing the foreboding that's going to come in the scene, the fact that the man's life is going to be at stake. And all of the yellow tells us that he's a coward, that he has no backbone, which will always also play out throughout this scene. All right, so Chigurh comes into picture here, into frame, and then we get this reverse shot structure that the Coens like so much. But from the get-go, from the proprietor's first words,
What business is it
there's a
of yours?
problem.
Where I'm from. Friendo.
And as you listen to that exchange,
mean nothing.
you see that Sugar is already ticked off.
Passing the time.
And now we go through some cat and mouse. So what I'd like to let you
don't
do is
accept that.
listen
I
to
don't
this
know what
dialogue
it's
in
gonna do for
pieces
me.
and then comment on it.
Will it be something else?
I don't know. Will there?
Is something wrong
With what?
with anything?
Is that what you're asking me? Is there
There's this
something wrong with
conflict,
anything?
this
Will it be anything
sporadic
Nobody
dialogue,
asked me
and
that.
Sugar eating those peanuts one at a time.
else? Well, I need to see about closing now.
See about closing.
Yes, sir.
What time do you close?
Now, we close now.
Now is not a time. What time do you close?
Generally around dark, at dark.
Lovely bit of acting there. They close at dark. It's nowhere
don't know
near
what you're
dark, and
talking
he even, makes his eye move like, "Hey, can't you tell it's getting dark?"
don't know
Sugar doesn't need to look and react. He realizes what's going on because he's
time do you go to
instigated this bit of
You're a
discomfort
bit
going on
different.
here with this
I said,
man.
what time do you go to bed?
Somewhere around 9:30.
But we're going to ramp up
I'd say around 9:30.
until
I could come back then.
you hear
would you be
Sugar
coming back?
choke,
We'll be closed.
and then it
Never
gets
said that.
dangerous.
Well, I got to close now.
You live in that house out back.
Yes, I do.
You lived here all your life?
This is my wife's father's place.
Choke.
originally.
You married into it.
We lived in Temple, Texas for many years.
Okay, so let's talk about why this upset Sugar, because from this point on, that's when the coin comes out. Now, Sugar is not an out-and-out killer. He has a skill set, and he does kill, but what we've seen him do thus far is kill for purpose. He had to kill to get away from the cop. He had to kill the guy at the side of the road to get out of the cop car. Now, he is going to put up this man's life on the toss of a coin.
We lived in Temple, Texas for many years. Raised a family there in Temple. We come out here about 4 years ago.
You married into it.
That's the way you want to put it.
I don't have some way to put it. That's the way it is.
The close-up on the wrapper tells us it's important.
What's
the
the
fact that we
most
spent
you've ever
seconds
lost
on the
in a fight?
wrapper re-emphasizes that. And the fact that when we cut back to the proprietor, he's looking at the wrapper. All of this tells us that things have just shifted in this gas station conversation.
The most you ever lost.
And then the great line, what's the most you've ever lost on a coin
I
toss?
don't know. I couldn't say.
Call it.
Call it.
Yes.
For what?
Just call it.
Now, notice Sugar's expression here. He doesn't bother to elaborate to say what the wager is. He just asks what's the most he's lost in a coin toss. And then when Sugar asks the man to call it, he kind of sighs like, yes, we have to do this. This is something that has to be done. Notice the
Well,
slow
we
push
need to
in
know
on the
what
camera,
we're calling
and one of
it
the
for
few
here.
uses
We
of
need to call it.
non-diegetic sound
can't call it
or
for you.
sound that the characters
It wouldn't
cannot
be fair.
hear comes in here in this low kind of like, I can't call it for you, because that would be cheating in Sugar's mind. Carson Wells, when we meet him in about half an hour or so, will talk about Sugar and say that he has this strange code. And this is where we see it. For some reason, Sugar feels that this man is worthy of dying, but he's not going to kill him in cold blood. He's going to flip the coin, and he's going to make the man call it. And even though it's never stated in this dialogue, the bet here, the wager here, which the man behind the cash register has not agreed to, the wager here is for his very life.
I didn't put nothing up.
Yes, you did. You've been putting it up your whole life. You just didn't know it.
I didn't put nothing up. Yes, you did. These are two of the most important lines in the whole segment. You've been putting it up your whole life. You just didn't know it. So now let's go back to the choke. When Sugar learns that this gas station is all that this man has to show for his, 50 to 60 years of life, and then learns that it's not even his, that it's his wife's, so he married into it. Sugar feels that this man has done nothing with his life, and since he's already ticked Sugar off, Sugar is going to make him do something with his life. He's going to put his life up, and he's going to make the man call his life. If the man makes the correct call, he gets his life. If he doesn't, well, it wasn't a life that was being very well lived in Sugar's mind. No loss. But if he does, the man, in Sugar's eyes, has now done something more significant than perhaps he's done in his entire life.
You know what date is on this coin?
No.
1958. It's been traveling 22 years to get here. And now it's here. And it's either heads or tails.
This idea of the coin has been traveling for 22 years to get here, as if the coin's purpose was to do nothing in those 22 years, say for right now. That coin was made for this moment, for right now. There's a lot going on here with fate and chance in this film, and now we start to see it early on. This is obviously chance, this choice, this coin flip choice, but Sugar is arguing that the fate of the coin, the whole reason for its being here, was to show up and allow this man to win his life.
And you have to say, call it.
Well, look, I need to know what I stand to win.
Everything.
How's that?
You stand to win everything, call it.
Now Sugar gets a little stronger. The man still doesn't know what he's wagering on, but when Sugar says everything, that's when we as the audience know, oh dang, he's going to kill this guy, if we haven't guessed by then. And we hear that non-diegetic sound pick up. It's now kind of a high-low, just adding to the tension.
All right. Heads then.
Notice how the sound fades out when he makes the call. This movie has no music. And this movie barely uses non-diegetic sound. It's all about the actors and the editing, which is one of the reasons I love it so much, because it's not giving us those cheap cues for how we should feel. It's leaving us in the dark intentionally at times and making us react with our gut, not with the emotions stirred by music. And it's also not foreshadowing bad things to come by giving us sounds that are going to let us know.
Well done.
Notice the demeanor change on Sugar. Well done. And then flicks the coin at him. He's done something here, the gas station owner. He called it. Sugar's proud of him. And all of Sugar's anger towards him or animosity or desire to kill him have washed away. Sugar's still having some fun there at the end, a little cat and mouse, but he's hardened. Don't put it in your pocket. It's your lucky quarter. That quarter has saved his life. You can't just throw it in there and let it travel all around now. Its fate was to come here. It saved your life. Put it somewhere special, but it's still just a coin. So the problem, I think, with this scene for audiences sometimes is they can kind of get the periphery of what's going on, but they don't get why Sugar wants to kill this guy. And this scene is very, very telling of Sugar. He's not just a wanton killer. That's why I don't like calling him a symbol of death, because death is. Death would have come in, and as soon as he got ticked off, he would have killed that gas station owner. Sugar has this weird set of rules and standards and bylaws that he operates by. The man deserved to die because he was wasting his life. He was doing nothing with his life. I mean, look at this gas station. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's not getting a lot of business. It's not like it's the greatest gas station in, southwestern Texas. And it's not his. So Sugar is going to make the man actually be a man, invest in his life, make a move that shows he's worthy of living. And that tells us a bit about Sugar. It actually tells us quite a lot about Sugar. And it introduces the mechanism of the coin flip and the prop of the coin, which we will see later on in this movie. All right. I hope you enjoyed all of this. I love this scene. By all means, if you have comments or questions, leave them in the comment section there on YouTube or DM me on Instagram. One last note I'm going to say, I think I missed it in the earlier commentary. The shot here isn't great for it, but it's good enough. There's red behind Chigurh. We were talking about the red outside, and we were talking about the color of the yellow associated with the gas station proprietor. We saw all that red on the outside, and then when we see behind Chigurh, it's all this beef jerky, but most of it is colored in red. It connects to the exterior color. Obviously, we can argue that it stands in for blood, and this could have been a very ugly, deadly scene. And so that red kind of sits in our subconscious to let us know, connected to Chigurh, to let us know that bad things could happen in this very scene. All right, part 4, soon down the road. Thank you all for stopping by, and I'll talk to you soon.